Today is the 16th of June 2023, and we want to look at multiplying and dividing decimals by the powers of 10. Okay, earlier on, when we're looking at prime factors and when I was introducing the mathematical symbols, I showed you 2 to the power 2 is the same as 2 times 2. 2 means 2 to the power 1. It's just that we don't write 2 to the power 1. Okay, so 2 is a 2, but 2 to the power 2 is 2 times 2, and 2 to the power 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. In today's lesson, we are not working in that way, but we are using the powers of 10. So for instance, 10 to the power 1 is 10. Any number to the power 1 is 10. We don't normally bring the ones because we know that it's 10. So if you have 7, 7 is the same as 7 to the power 1. But 7 to the power 2 is 7 times 7. I hope I'm clear on that. But we are working with the powers of 10. Do not forget that. That is the purpose of our lesson today. So now, let's do a bit of revision. 10 to the power 2 is the same as 10 times 10 twice. Now, 10 times 10 is 100. How did we get that? It is 2 zeros here, so we have 1, and then we add the 2 zeros. Okay, 10 to the power 3 is 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000. 10 to the power 4 is 10 times 10 times 10 4 times. So I have here 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So we have 4 zeros. So we write the 1, and then we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is a short revision just to show you how we break down the powers of 10. In the other way, we can go the other way around and say this has 4 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10 to the power 4. This has 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. So 10 to the power 3. This has 2 zeros. So 10 to the power 2. This is applicable to tens. Okay, it is applicable to 10. So have a very quick look at it, and then we'll continue the lesson and introduce what we want to do today. So we want to multiply decimals. You remember when I was teaching prime factors? Okay, we said whole numbers. We are not working with decimals, but today we are working with decimals. A decimal is a number like 2.1, 3.7, 4.75, 7.2. So a decimal is, so if you divide say 20 by 3, you are not going to get a whole number, you are going to get a decimal. Okay, when I was studying maths, there were no calculators then. They were these big fat calculators. We didn't have computers then, so we use a booklet called the four figure tables. Okay, you can go and Google it. I think it's still on market, you can buy, but you don't really need it because you can use a calculator now. We were not allowed to use the calculator in our exams. So you can look at Google it, four-figure table. So you can find things like what is the square root. That is a four-figure because it always put numbers in 4 figures or 4 decimal places. Okay, some of us, we use it over and over again, and that was what we used to pass our GCSE. But you can Google it and have a look at how it looks like, but you wouldn't need it for your GCSE now. Okay, now let's go on. So for example, remember today we are looking at decimals and we are multiplying, and then later on we'll divide. Okay, we are going to do the multiplication part first. So my first decimal I'll introduce you to is 2.1. Okay, if you are sitting in front of your paper, you are going to move it to the right. Okay, but assuming in real life the paper is in front of you, then it's to the left. But not to confuse you with that, I'm just going to show you how you should do it. Now 2 times 1, 2.1 times 10. Okay, so here look at where the decimal place is. So you are going to move it. 10 is 10 to the power 1. So it has just 1 0. So you are going to move this the decimal 1 step forward. Okay, so I have this here. So the decimal is here, as you can see, and I'm moving it from here to there. So the decimal has moved from here to here because I'm multiplying by 2.1 times 10 to the power 1. So now my new answer is 21. The next example is 2.1 times 10 to the power 2. So 10 to the power 2 is the same as 10 times 10, which is 100, and 100 has 2 zeros. So 100 here has 2 zeros. So I'm going to make 2 loops, 1 each. So let's look at it again. So 2.1, the decimal is here. So 1 and 2. So the decimal is now here. So my new number is 210. So 2.1 times 10 to the power 2 will be equal to 210. Okay. Now 2.1 times 10 to the power 3. 10 to the power 3 here is 1,000, because 10 times 10 times 10, 3 zeros. So this is how it will look like. 10 to the power 3 becomes 1,000. So now I write 2.1, but because 1,000 has 3 zeros, I'm going to make 3 loops. Okay, and the empty ones I'll put in zeros. So I have 1, 2, and 3. So now my new answer will be 2,100. Okay, so there and there. The fourth example is 2.1 times 10 to the power 4. So I repeat 2.1. 10 to the power 4 has 4 zeros there. So how many loops am I going to move? 4. So I'm going to use the decimal. So 2.1. So this is the first one. 2, 3, and 4. So now if you can see my new figure, if I put 0 in the empty places, I have 21,000. So what it means is 2.1 times 4 to the power 10 to the power 4 equals 21,000. That is multiplying by a powers of 10. Now let's quickly look at dividing by the powers of 10. So now when we're multiplying, we were jumping and we were making loops in this direction. If you are facing the paper, then that will be your right. Okay, so now we are going to move it backwards. Okay, so let's look at this figure here. 0.34 divided by 10. So now we have 0.34, but 10 has only 1 0. So we are going to move it one step backwards. So this is where my decimal is. So if I make one loop backwards, the new decimal place is here. So my new answer now, if you look at it carefully, will be 0.0347. Now, the same number to the power 2, and we saw earlier that 10 to the power 2 is 100, so it has 2 zeros. So 10 to the power, the number we have, we write it out. Now we move it twice. Okay, so 1 and 2. So now the new decimal place will be here. So we have 0.00347. The third example I have here for you is 0.347 divided by 10 to the power 3. Okay, so now the decimal place is here. 10 to the power 3, as we saw earlier, has 3 zeros. So we move it again 1, 2, 3. So the new decimal place is here. So we have 0.000347. When I say not or 0 is the same thing, growing up, I have math teachers who said not in place of 0, and some said 0. So as I grew up, there are times I'll say not, and I'll say 0. And now at times not is a bit funny, but I just like saying it. So if I say not or 0, it's the same thing. Okay. Okay, I'll give you a full set of examples quickly, and then we'll round up the lesson. So I'm going to use one number and just try and show you how to do it. When you go home, when you finish watching this video, make up a number or use my number, watch the video, and then pause it and make sure you understand the concept. So basically, if you are multiply, you move forward. If you are dividing, you move the decimal place backwards. Okay, so we have 3.45.60 times by 10. 10 has 1 0, so I'm going to move it forward. So if I move it forward, I have 245. My decimal place will move forward here. So my new answer now will be 2456.7. Okay, now times 10 to the power 2. So we are going to move it forward twice. So 1 and 2. So the decimal place now is behind the 7. So we have 24567. That would be our number here now. The same number times 10 to the power 3. Remember, we are multiplying by the powers of 3. Okay, so 3 zeros. So now the decimal is here. The decimal is here. So 3 zeros, 1, 2, and 3. The empty one, we put a 0. Always remember. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. The last example I have under multiplication is 245.67 times 10 to the power 4. So here we have 4 zeros. So we are going to move it 4 jumps forward. So the decimal is here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. The empty ones, we add zeros. So our new number now will become 2456,700. Okay. Questions like this, it will come in the non-calculator paper, or maybe if you are evaluating a question, an evaluate question, you might have to apply this principle to solve it and maybe make it a bit simpler so that you can get the answer quickly. Now, another example is the division. So the example I just used, I'm going to use that and do it in the reverse. Okay. So I have 456,700 is a whole number. But what I want to show you that at the end we are going to see decimals divided by 10 to the power 4. Now, if you have a whole number, the decimal is at the end of the last number. So, because we are dividing by 10 to the power 4, 10 to the power 4, so we are going backwards. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now the decimal is here. So we have 245.67. We don't need to write 00 because if 67 is a decimal, but even if we add 10 zeros, it's still 2.5.67. Okay, and this is to maybe 1 2 decimal place. We can run it off to a decimal place. When we are doing rounding, I'll show you how to do that. But today we are not looking at that. We are just looking at how to multiply and divide by powers of 10 using decimals. So when we look at this one as well, we have 245.670 divided by, remember division, by 10 to the power 3. So we are going to move the decimal here. The decimal for the whole number is at the end of the number. So this number is like 245,670.0. Okay, so 3 places will be 1, 2, 3. So our new answer will be 245.67. Now, the third example is 245.67 divided by 10 to the power 2. 10 to the power 2 here has 2 zeros. And remember, if you have a whole number, the decimal point is at the end of the whole number. So if you have 3, 3 can be 3.0. Okay? So this whole number here is 24567.0. And we are going to move it 2 places backwards. So the decimal is here 1, 2. So our new number will be 245.67. The third one here is 2456.7 divided by 10. So here the decimal is between 6 and 7. So we need to move it backwards 1 because 10 is just a 0. So we've moved this backwards by 1. So our new number will be 245.67. I hope I have made it a lot easier for you. Okay, go and practice. Watch the video, pause it, practice. Okay, look at the examples carefully. This is applicable when you are solving powers of 10, because 1 times 10 is 10. So it's easier. But as we go on, I'll show you how to divide. It's the same principle, but if you're maybe doing it by 20, then you have to find the answer and go ahead and divide by 2, because it's 20, or multiply by 2. But at the end of the day, it's the same principles. But these are the basic things I need to show you before I start taking you a bit deeper. I hope I've made a bit of, I've given you a bit a clarity today on this topic. Okay, so go and look at these examples on multiplication and division and try and make sense of it. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.